When I watched Taxi Driver for the first time, I found it too simple. I was confused with the fact that it is considered to be one of the best films ever made. Later, when I gave it a rewatch after doing a lot of analysis about the film by reading reviews from critics like Roger Ebert, I realized the complexities of the film. Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver is great not because of the plot but because of the characters. There's a misconception among people that great films are great just because of their plot. But if you will look at some of the best films ever made, you will find that most of them are character based. So, why characters are important? There are two blocks of a character. The first one is the characterization, which basically shows the nature of the character, and the other one is true character, which shows the inner character of the person. Most of the films that we watch have characters with the same characteristics and true character, and that makes a film dull. Great films always have characters whose true character and characteristics don't match, which eventually makes the film more engaging as we will be unaware of the consequences and choice of the character. Take the example of Michael Corleone from The Godfather. His characteristics are of a simple-minded, loving war veteran who avoids all of the family business. Whereas his true character mostly resembles of a cold-blooded person who can do anything to avenge his family. Later it becomes a shock when we see him killing the heads of the five families. We come to know more about his true character, which is known as character revelation. In Gangs of Wasseypur, the characteristics of Faisal Khan is of a drunkard, an outsider who has nothing to do with any of the violence. In the second part, when the stakes are high, we start to see his true character, and later we realize he will be the one to avenge his family. Take another example from Paul Thomas Anderson's There Will Be Blood. The character of Daniel Plainview is shown too simple in the first act. We come to know more about his relationship with his adopted son. He had value for him when he needed him, but when things went out of hand, he showed his true colors by ending all the relation with him. Now coming to Taxi Driver, the character of Travis Bickle is too complex. We are unaware of both his characteristics and his true character. In the first act, we see him as more of a simple-minded person who wants to socialize himself. We see his likeness towards Palantine. But in the third act, we see him attempting an assassination of him. He wants to clean up the society by eradicating violence. But in the other hand, he chooses violence to do all this. This makes him more contradictory. Travis mostly suffers from loneliness, and that makes him more distressed. He tries to look for purpose in his life, and when he gets his purpose of saving Betty in the end, he takes it too far by completely destroying himself. This change of Travis's character throughout the film is termed as character development, and it's quite an important aspect. Taxi Driver is filled with great characterization, and that's what makes it stand out of others. If you look at the films of Martin Scorsese, you will find that almost all of his works are driven mostly by characters with minimum plot, and that makes him stand out of others. After all, films are not just limited to one aspect.